think every real horror fan has had at least one experience of feeling out of place when compared with quote-unquote mainstream society, but I don't think there's ever been a really good attempt to understand why it is that people like horror. Most horror fans are generally normal people who have pretty good reasons for enjoying horror, but what are those reasons? The real reasons, not the ones that they learn to tell people to make them leave them alone. That's what our podcast is about, interviewing people in the horror biz to find out what it is about horror that makes them happy. My name's Steve, and I'm a bit of a psychology buff, and my co-host is my friend Chris, who's a bit of a horror buff, and so far we've interviewed about 45 people in the biz and had a lot of fun with it, and wanted to share with you some of the highlights. In this set of excerpts, we're going to be talking to Shane Beasley, the killer in Found and Headless, Jack Amos, who's the Gertie in 100 Tears, and New York Times best-selling author and founding father of the splatterpot movement, John Skipp. How old were you when you saw Hellraiser?
Probably like 12, maybe 13. So I was just in the finding out that my penis did something other than urinating.
Well, perfect timing. Like, hey,
yeah, right? So
this thing has other purposes, and I kind of like him. And hey, what's that thing wearing leather over there?
Yeah, why is this pointing up? You know, it's like, I got a compass now. What is this?
But why is it pointing
tells
towards
me where
the
to
red
go?
stuff?
Yeah, it definitely tells me where to go. Yeah.
The old lightning rod.
But yeah, once I saw your first set of breasts, it was like, okay, I need to see more of those.
Well, yeah.
Keep them coming. That just tells you how bad Julia was.
I was going to say, there were some issues with that family.
Yeah, she was the real villain, Goddamn stepmothers every time.
100%. Yeah, Julia did not have a kind bone in her body. Well,
she had a couple. Yeah.
I was going to say, but those were also unkind.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Frank was just misunderstood.
Yeah.
He played with the box. He was curious.
Yeah.
He wanted to know what it was like.
There's a couple double entendres there.
I know. I was about to say.
I was saying, he opened her box.
Double entendre
box opening.
Yeah. Oh, dude! If you have not yet watched the show Invincible, the animated series, and
I've seen it. Yeah.
Dude, the f***ing end. I can't help it. I blow her up every time.
Yeah, right. He's like, I'm your son. He's like, you're nothing to me. I'm the ultimate race. You're only half.
Dad.
I'm treating your mother like a pet. Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, you this lady, Do you your dog?
Right?
Yeah, right.
There are some people out there.
If only Rover could talk,
Or it's good for you that they can't.
Like, it's okay. If you put peanut butter on your dick, it's okay because it's your dog.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So, yes.
Today's sponsor is Peter Pan.
I'm just saying that peanut butter works well.
Peter Pan peanut butter.
They don't go for jelly as much. They tend to bite when you use like meat flavored things.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
Yes.
That's dangerous. At least it sounds dangerous. I wouldn't know. Yes.
Anyway, moving on from dog peanut butter fellatio.
Just the way you said.
That's gonna be my next band name and or song name. Dog peanut butter fellatio.
Yeah, dog peanut butter fellatio.
Not to be confused with llama peanut butter fellatio, because that just gets messy. No.
Yeah, forget about jelly butt. We'll just stay right out of that one. Jelly butt enema coming up soon.
Sounds like a crust band.
Yeah, right.
Oh, well, I was thinking you're going very close to Guar territory, really.
Yeah, I love Guar. But then, like, when I tell somebody in the music business, well, I've been in some horror movies, and they're like, oh, whoa, really? And then I'll show it to them, and then for every time after they see me, it's, hey, head
One goat.
I don't really want to be known as like, yeah, it's great. I did a movie where I had some sex with some heads, but I don't want to be that guy. It's like, oh, you're a head. Well, no, it was acting. It was fake.
It's like the extreme horror version of American Pie. Like instead of pie, your head.
Mm-hmm.
That is a compliment.
Exactly. Like poor Jason Biggs. That's like he said that in Jay and Silent Drop Bob Strike. I'm always going to be known as the guy who the head.
I was gonna say that there are worse things in the world, but
yeah, I guess. But
any idea why you like vengeance movies?
Well, I grew up as kind of an outsider kid. Mm-hmm. I was a 3-letter sportsman in sports. Okay. I also graduated with honors in AP classes, and I was also a theater kid. So while I got along with everybody, I was never a part of any group. And that's one of the things I noticed about horror fans. And I also belong to Mensa, so there's another group of people who I categorize as don't fit in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a full-fledged member of that group. Don't fit in.
Well, at least you had the 3-letter sportsman thing going for you. If you didn't have that, just having the others, that could have been rough. But having the 3 letters helps out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I ran across somebody recently on Facebook that thought I was a big hero in high school. They said, "Oh man, I'm so glad I found you. You were, we worshipped you when you." Seriously, you could have mentioned it then.
You're like, right? Would have been nice to know. You were the local Rhodes Scholar.
I'm usually over there in the corner by myself, maybe one friend.
Never,
And I was always a kid that once you told it to me, I got it. I remember in 7th, 8th grade, I was reading, which is what I usually did in school. Teacher was all mad at me because I wasn't paying attention to her. English teacher says, "Come up and diagram the sentence." So I walked up there and I diagrammed the sentence. Like ding, 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 ding. Is that it? Yeah, that's right.
Back to my desk.
Okay, you taught me that 2 or 3 years ago. Did it change?
Yep. I did a very similar thing. I remember it was also in middle school. I was reading a book, and I wasn't ignoring the teacher. I was listening, but she wasn't doing anything that needed to be paid attention to visually. and she thought she was going to be a wise ass and catch me and say something, "Steve, what did I just say?" And without even picking my head up from the book, I repeated verbatim her last sentence. Paused and went on with what she was doing. Like,
very well then.
Yep, gotcha.
Don't try me.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any friends or family, I'm guessing, in your teenage years that were fans of horror either?
Friends?
Yeah, well,
I know not of what you speak.
Yes, I get your point.
Imaginary friends count too.
Yes, yeah.
And my family I was very late in my generation. My mother was 39 when I was born.
Okay.
My brothers were 12, 14, and 16 when I was born. And the rest of the cousins and the aunts and uncles were all in that 40s generation. Mm-hmm. And I was born in the 50s. So actually, some of them were in the 30s generation. Yeah, my closest cousin was 8 years older than me. I remember having a crush on her when I was really too young to be having crushes.
Right.
So
you didn't know better.
That is South Carolina, so it's legal.
Still, maybe. Yeah.
Well, back then.
I'm very serious about my acting. And whenever I go in front of the camera or in front of an audience, I am 100%. I give it all I got. Mm-hmm. So
I was going to say there's probably pros and cons. It's more of a family atmosphere, but probably also a bit less organized sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. I've been on professional sets that were could not be described without using the word cluster.
I was thinking that as I was saying that. I'm like, yeah, I can see it the other way too.
I have a lot of friends that are in the industry, and they call on me because they know they can count on me. I'm a very responsible person as far as.
Okay.
I remember on the Meltdown, I probably, and being in California, I probably offended at least 10 or 15 unions because I made props for the film. I did makeup for the film. I drove a grip truck for the film. There's 3 unions right there.
Right.
Oh, I did set dressing for the film. So,
Stealing our work, you scab.
I did pyro.
If you live in almost any other part of the country, it's kind of like you got to do that because those unions don't really have enough people to do all the stuff that needs to get done.
Well, and you're on that micro budget too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember a surprising amount of early stuff that happened. I remember sticking my hands into a paint can in the garage and blinding myself with paint that they had to get out with yeah. I was an idiot. I was,
Was? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no! Yeah, now I'm all better.
Now I only put paint in my eyes on Tuesdays.
Yes.
Well, it's important to stick to a schedule on these things, but yeah. So I was a fucking moron, and so that was terrifying. But I was raised to be sort of a Catholic, which meant I went to Catholic school and went to Catholic masses. And I finally said to my mom, I think this was in 2nd grade, I said, I don't think I'm going to go to church anymore.
In 2nd grade.
I like the music, but the rest of this is not. I don't think I'm going to go anymore. My mom was appalled, but my dad was secretly thrilled because he didn't believe any of this shit. And
that's terrible, son. I'm so appalled to hear that. Good.
Yeah. Come out back and let's have a cigar. Wow, monsters exist, and monsters can be really cool, and also people can be terrifying. And then I moved to Argentina and
realize that people can be terrifying.
Yeah, underscored that case. So yeah, man. I saw a lot of stuff, and it became a lifelong thing. And yeah, so I love scary stories. That's why horror makes me happy.
Plug. Dress up for Halloween now that you're back in the United States.
Oh yeah.
Favorite costume?
Zombie.
Okay.
Of course. Should have expected that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Least favorite costume?
I really never. I didn't wear the sexy nun well.
But you wore it, is what you're saying.
Actually, I as a younger man, I did pretty damn good drag. I looked pretty good, but I never did the sexy nun. My favorite costume I ever saw was a guy who had a low rent Barney the dinosaur costume. This was not in my teen years, but like a really shabby 5th rate Barney the dinosaur costume. And he had one of those little name tags on the chest that said, "Hello, my name is Barry." He's like
Not Barney. Barry.
He's like Barney's, low rent trailer park cousin or something.
Yeah.
It was fucking
like
hilarious.
Barney you would see on fucking Times Square.
Yeah.
It's the Barney that you rent for your child. Your kids.
My name is Barry.
It was so good. And then they show the line of asses, prosthetic asses. There's like 37 prosthetic asses lined up. So nobody's actually got their face wedged into anybody else's ass. It's all, there's no pink eye involved here.
Well, I call bullshit then. That's not authentic and just spurious,
Right.
Typical Hollywood.
And at that point,
nobody can bury their face in an ass on camera.
Well,
anyway,
that's a different part of California.
and certainly a different part of Hollywood.
That too.
Yeah, I mean, this is as off the Hollywood map as you can get. And I just went, you outlaw motherfuckers, I love you. And now I love Human Centipede too, and really admire the fact that it got that kind of a rise out of me. And the thesis of this was that horror is the secret ingredient between every story you ever loved. Which is to say that horror is conflict that it's the engine that drives it. And as a case study, I started with the movie Amadeus, and I recounted how I invited some friends over for a movie night. They were not fans of horror, but they all agreed that Amadeus would be a cool film to watch. Realized that Amadeus is basically a deconstruction of human madness worthy of Edgar Allan Poe, wherein the jealous Salieri is driven to murder and sabotage and every other bad thing by the genius of Mozart, a simple soul who just had God's music pouring out of it. And I just went from there and sort of broke it down into every category of film and identified the horror at the heart of comedies, dramas, war stories, love stories, children's movies, etc., etc., etc.
So yeah, come check us out over at horrormakeshappy.com or check out some of our other excerpts until you find someone whose interview you do want to hear.